Yo, what up? It's your boy Mike Rashid. Oh man. All right, let's get into this. Let's talk about this. Everyone's talking about Mayweather versus McGregor, and everybody's asking me, what is my thoughts? What are my opinions? So I'm gonna talk about it because first I wasn't gonna do a video about it because, you know, I feel like the majority of people who really know the sport, how they feel that Mayweather is gonna beat him. However, you know, after watching the first day of the press tour, you know, I just started feeling a certain way. And then I started really thinking about it. It really hit me last night, like, I don't really like this. I was kind of defending the fight at first. You know, I'm like, why not? He's retired. You know, he about to make a ton of money. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Let it happen. However, this is the issue. I love boxing, as many of you know, and I've grown to love MMA. For those who don't know, I grew up boxing, but I did take up Kyokushin, Judo, and Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not a black belt by any means, but I know a little bit, and I'm actually gonna start back doing Jiu-Jitsu just to get better because I'm a lot lighter, it'll be a lot easier for me now. But I love martial arts, combat sports in general. Now, boxing and UFC, boxing and MMA. You know what bothers me about this Mayweather-McGregor fight? And I'm gonna just be honest. The fact that we have Adrian Broner and Mickey Garcia fighting at the end of this month. No press, no one's talking about it. You have Canelo Alvarez, who arguably is the best boxer in the world right now, my favorite, outside of Mayweather or whomever. You have Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G coming up, and that's a lot on the line. Both of those fights, a lot on the line. Nobody's talking about it. And then in UFC, you have the return of the king, John Jones, versus DC, Daniel Cormier, part 2. I mean, it's a lot on the line. John Jones is the best fighter, the best mixed martial art fighter of all times so far. He had this time off, the suspension. We get to see really what he's made of, if he's lost anything, if he's gained anything, and see if Daniel Cormier is really the champion. Nobody's talking about it. I gotta dig for information about that or to see any kind of press videos. I think it's unfortunate. I think that Mayweather and McGregor are disrespecting their respective sports. I feel like they think that they are bigger than the sports that made them, and it's not cool. You know, you have Bob Arum speaking out against it. You have Oscar De La Hoya speaking out against it. You know, I can see why people say, oh, they on some hater shit because they're not a part of the promotion. But you gotta think about this. What should have happened, if you want this to really be the biggest event in sports, Mayweather Promotions, Showtime, sit down with Bob Arum, sit down with Oscar De La Hoya, right? All the boxing promoters come together and let's figure out a date when there's no other big fights going on, and let's include a person from each promotion, a superstar from each promotion, sit down with Dana White and, you know, say you pick one guy from Golden Boy, a guy from Top Rank, and of course Mayweather, and maybe one of his fighters, and then you match them with 3 guys from the UFC, right? Everybody wins. That will really be the biggest fight in history. And because some people may be taking this fight as, let's see who's better, MMA or boxing. And for one, this fight does not determine that. It's 2 completely different sports, right? McGregor is coming with this argument like, this is not even a fight, this is half a fight. You know, it's just one little piece of a fight. And that's bullshit because in a fight, first of all, McGregor wins like this, boxing. He looks good as a boxer, you know what I'm saying? When he fought Diaz on the second fight, the rematch, what was he doing? He does what Floyd Mayweather does. He moved around on his bicycle. That means he used excellent footwork to stay out of range of getting hit. And jab, jab, countered him, timed him. He boxed. He boxed like Floyd boxes. So, and other like slick style boxers, you know what I mean? So, and most of his fights are won in that fashion. Maybe he's had a submission or two, but I haven't seen any, you know what I'm saying? So, and what he's known for is boxing, right? So don't disrespect that sport, and especially the fact that this sport is about to make you a very wealthy man. It's putting you on an international, he's already on the map, let's don't get it twisted, but it's really boosting his stock like crazy. And just don't disrespect the sport, like it's stupid. You know, he's really disrespecting the sport, and I don't like it, you know? I feel like he should have some respect for the sport, for boxing, just like Mayweather should have some respect for MMA, and he does. Let's say people saying, oh, this is gonna determine who's the best. It's not, because I don't think that McGregor can beat Mayweather in boxing, but let's say he does. He's beating not the best boxer in the world, he's beating a guy who was the best of our generation, who's been retired for 2 years, who's 41 years old going into this fight, and have been inactive for 2 years as a 41-year-old fighter, you know what I mean? So, and he's 28, 27, 28 in his prime. So if you wanna say, okay, match somebody with McGregor's, where he is in his career, match somebody right there in the prime of their career of fucking, and I'm not even gonna get into the weight issue because, you know, he fought at 170 something. Mayweather's never been that big. That's 30 pounds over what Mayweather has been fighting at, right? So fighter Andre Ward, a guy the same size as you in your prime, a Sergey Kovalev, you know what I mean, in his prime, you know what I mean? A young lion, and he would get annihilated. He would get eaten up. He would get eaten up. McGregor would get knocked out cold, unconscious by a boxer, one of the superstars in their primes. Mayweather, I don't think Mayweather's gonna be ferocious and destroy him and maul him. I don't think that at all. But I think Mayweather's gonna give him a boring boxing lesson for 12 rounds. Now, people criticize, especially on the MMA side, and Joe Rogan criticizes him a lot. And I love Joe Rogan, don't get it, this is not a jab at Joe Rogan, but he points out that, you know, Mayweather's a very defensive fighter and his style is boring. It is right now. But we're looking at Floyd when he was from 35 or 36 on, as an older, in boxing, that's old, right? Floyd, the majority of his career, if you go back and watch his old tapes, he had a really high knockout ratio, and they were calling him a knockout artist, and he was ferocious back then. Y'all gotta think, Floyd started out as I believe a featherweight. So Floyd was a small guy, or maybe a featherweight, super feather, something like that. So he was a small guy. He was a 130-pound fighter when he started. So, but he came up through the ranks, he fought Diego Corrales, and Diego Corrales was a stone cold killer, an absolute killer, an undefeated killer. And I believe Diego, the odds were on him, and Floyd, that was one of his best performances. He dropped him like 5-6 times to where Diego's father had to call the fight, you know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, so many fights, Emmanuel Augustus, a straight war. I mean, when he fought Zab Judah, war. You know, Floyd was a ferocious guy in his prime, you know? He's not in his prime, he's not hungry. You know, when the guy is hungry, it's a different type of, look at Gervonta Tank Davis. He goes in there and he tries to hurt everybody he fights. Every punch is thrown with mean intentions. And Floyd used to fight like that. But Floyd, we're talking about a guy who's been boxing as a professional for 21 years. Is no hunger. It's kind of silly. You know what I'm saying? Just like, and I love Bernard Hopkins, but watching him later in his career, it's like, it was cool. The novelty of it was cool because he was older and still in there, you know, competing with the best. But it wasn't cool to watch because you look like an older guy. You don't have that muscle tone that you used to have, even Roy Jones Jr. To me, you know, I might get some flack for this, but I think he was, in his prime, the best boxer of all time. But you see him then and now, he's still boxing now. He's just like he doesn't look the same. You know what I mean? Even though he's still whooping ass, it just don't look the same. It's not as exciting. You want to remember the legends as they were at their best, you know? And Mayweather is not at his best. I mean, his last few fights, yeah, he won easy, but they were boring as shit. So That's what I believe that this fight will be. The only intrigue is seeing him in a ring with a guy who's not a boxer, like, is seeing something that's not supposed to happen. I don't like the fight, honestly. I don't think it's gonna be an exciting fight. Mayweather and McGregor are the only people that win in this situation. The UFC doesn't win and boxing does not win. These guys are acting like they're above their sports, and I don't like it, you know? Because there's really big fights, there's mega fights, you know, around the same time that's not getting any kind of press, any kind of love. And those deserve it. These guys are getting it because they're superstars already. You know, McGregor made a big fucking push and calling Floyd out, talking shit, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he fought his way up, beat all the welterweights, you know what I mean, to earn this fight. You know, that's, when you fight Mayweather, it changes your life, you know? And think about all of these other guys who's been, you know, calling them out or not, but just working their way up through the ranks. They get a Mayweather fight, they're gonna get their biggest payday, you know? He walks away from his sport. Well, he's still in his sport, but he walks away from the people that made him to fight. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, and I respect Mayweather. I love him as a boxer. I love him as a champion. He flashy. That's how a champion should be. And McGregor is that as well. And I don't care what nobody say. McGregor is successful because he, not only is he a good fighter, but he takes a page directly out of Floyd Money Mayweather's playbook. You can't tell me. Talking shit, cocky, sunglasses, dressing fly, nice whips. Come on. He does some of the Muhammad Ali shit too. I mean, this all comes from boxing, and he's disrespecting boxing. Now let's talk about the actual fight, whether McGregor can win. Could he possibly win? Yes, because he's a man in the ring. They're both in the ring. They're both throwing punches. Something could connect and lights can be out. That's the only way. When you are at that level that Mayweather is at, even guys not at that level, but when you spent so many years of just that, boxing, your thought process as a boxer, and all right, there's certain guys, there's boxers, there's brawlers. Brawlers, they have their science too, but a boxer, a pure boxer, you think way too scientific in the ring. Your thoughts are way too calm. You see shit coming before you know all the small nuances. When I was 15, my dad took me to spar a pro. That was the first time I sparred a pro, I was 15. And, you know, I'm 3 years in the game at this point. There's a lot I didn't know. I knew how to punch, I knew how to fight, right? It's so much more than punching and fighting. The guy was stepping on my foot, knocking me off balance. His gloves was, the strings of his gloves was scraping my face. He was doing it intentionally, lots of forearms, but it's not necessarily a foul. It's not like he was elbowing me. It was just, you know, feints. You know, he would feint, like the amateurs wasn't doing feints, because in the amateurs, you got a short period of time to score as many points as you can, so you're just going in there scrapping. But when you're fighting somebody who knows the science of it, you'll feint, they keep feinting you, and then you're expecting something and something else comes. The shit hurts, and it frustrates you. It's a reason that, I think about this, Manny Pacquiao is a very aggressive boxer, right? Manny Pacquiao had a lot on the line when he fought Mayweather. Manny Pacquiao, when he fought Mayweather, it was one of his lowest punch outputs. Canelo Alvarez was 18 pounds bigger than Floyd Mayweather when he fought him. And he's a fucking savage. One of his lowest punch outputs. Damn near everybody he fights, he neutralizes. It's a reason that guys don't throw that many punches, because, you know, when you have somebody that sets traps, when they set a trap and you throw something that you think is legit and you're not even close to landing it, and on top of you missing, all right, let me get to the counter punch, but before the counter punch, when you throw a punch and hit somebody versus throwing a punch and not hitting somebody, when you don't hit them, it takes so much out of you, right? When you hit them, you don't really feel, it doesn't tax you like that, and you get like a little boost. You get like, it's more of a reward sense. It's like, okay, boom, I'm getting closer to that win. You know, you're dealing with frustration when you miss, and it tires you. And now think about that, and you get tagged, right? It's humiliating and it's frustrating, and it makes guys gun shy. It makes guys not want to pull the trigger and throw shots. It's a reason why people are not throwing that. Whenever they fight this guy, they're not throwing as many punches. Y'all not thinking about that, or the casuals are not thinking about that, who think McGregor is just going to be a very competitive fight. McGregor, or talk about this puncher's chance. There's no puncher's chance. When Timothy Bradley fought Pacquiao, I believe the second time, I was so disappointed at the way Timothy Bradley fought. He went in there trying to knock Pacquiao out. When you're fighting a legend, when you're fighting a boxer with the IQ of a Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather, you don't go in there trying to just knock him out. You never go in there trying to knock anybody out. The knockout just comes. It comes when you least expect it. But when you're going in there trying to just destroy a champ, you're gonna get embarrassed. You're gonna get countered all day long. You know what I mean? When you rush in, you're gonna get caught. It never works. And anybody that Mayweather fights, when he does knock, later in his career, when he would knock people out, it was because they were fucking coming in all crazy, except for Maidana. So the more aggressive you are, more mistakes you make. That's why other smart fighters will be more contemplative, trying to be more strategic fighting them, because they don't want to, people already say Mayweather don't hit hard, which is not true. He hits very hard. Shane Mosley said Mayweather and Pacquiao hits the same. You know, he fought both of them. So it's just a matter of if he's gonna risk breaking his right hand again. He has a fucked up right hand, but he's just not in there trying to do all of that. He ain't hungry. Javante, the young dudes, they in there trying to knock you out. The OGs, he trying to ride out, he trying to make money. And then he said something that I didn't like. He was like, this is not about the money, it's for the fans. This is what the fans want. It's not what the fans want. It's a spectacle, it's a circus, that it's a train wreck that people are gonna stop to look at. But nobody was asking for that shit. I am as much of a boxing fan as anybody. And I don't give a fuck about, I'll watch it, I'm gonna watch it, but that's not a fight that I wanted to see, that I was interested in seeing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it just says about the money. Just say, shit, yeah, it's a big ass payday. Why wouldn't I? Wouldn't you? I can respect that a little more than it's for the fans. It's not for the fans, it's for y'all. You know, and I think that's very unfortunate, man. Y'all not thinking about the big picture, man. It's not about just you, you know? Not that, and I'm saying it's like anybody gives a fuck, like Floyd or McGregor give a fuck. Like, you know, they're about to make hundreds of millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? But it's very unfortunate that these two men, that I respect both of them, and I'm a fan of both of them, and I'll continue watching them both after this, but it's unfortunate, maybe, it's unfortunate that they are putting themselves above their sports, and these huge fights are suffering, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not with the notion of boycotting the fight like De La Hoya said, because De La Hoya sounds very bitter. You know he has animosity with Floyd, and I think it stems from Floyd beating his ass. But that was bound to happen. But he had to pass the throne. But Floyd is gonna have to pass the throne at some point. And it would suck if he passes the throne to a guy that's not even a boxer. And it's not that, and if McGregor does beat Floyd, it's not that he beats him because he's better than him. He's beating an old man. I mean, Floyd is an older guy, like he's 41, come on, man. Or 40, even if he was 38, 35. That's up there in boxing. Guys retire at that age, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's not like he's been active. When he retired, he was fighting 2 times a year. So his 2 years that went by, he hasn't been in the gym. You know, he just started going back. It's like, come on, man. And he's already putting out there, you know, I'm older, reflexes are not the same, like no shit. You know, it's just fucking whack. It's kind of whack. It kind of sucks. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? You know, I like to go to fights, or like have a nice fight party. I'm not doing either for that. I'll just watch it. You know what I mean? But it fucking sucks. But I think I am gonna be at the Bruno Garcia fight. I'm gonna support that shit. You know what I'm saying? Front row like a motherfucker. That's a fight. That's a fucking important fight for both fighters. Canelo Triple G, that's an important fight for both fighters. John Jones and Daniel Cormier, that's an important fucking fight for both fighters. Come on, Dana. Come on, Floyd. Showtime. Fuck. Get together with the other guys. Y'all put together a super mega event. 3 or 4 boxers, 3 or 4 MMA guys, and match them all up together and schedule that shit when there's no other fights, no other big fights that's scheduled. We all win then. And y'all are fucking heroes. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put on the biggest fucking extravaganza ever. You know what I mean? But we have a situation where motherfuckers is thinking about their own pockets, and all money ain't good money. All right? Anyway, my little rant is over. That's my opinion on it. That's what I say. And yeah, I'm a fan, and it sucks to me too, because I'm a fan of Mayweather and I'm a fan of McGregor, but they're not even in the fucking same sport, but they're gonna fight. This is stupid. Anyway, I'm gonna watch the fight anyway, like all y'all. Holla at y'all later. Peace.